connection that allows us to stream to YouTube. And the question becomes then, Gus, does every version of Zoom allow you to stream live to YouTube? Repeat the question, Gus, so everybody can hear.
Every version of Zoom allow you to stream live to YouTube?
Yeah. And what do you think?
No.
No, only the professional and above version. So what version? And that's an advantage, Sophia, right? That why not use our advantage? Some of the other students had asked me, do I have to buy the professional version? And what would then your answer be, Ike? If somebody asked me, one of the students asked me, Dr. Rush, do I have to buy the professional version?
No, because it comes with like I guess we get it as students here.
Yes, it comes with being part of the university commuting, right? But that YouTube Live is by default turned on or off, Daniel?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes. Zoom, then we get an opportunity because we have the professional version. We have an opportunity to live stream.
Yes.
By default, is that?
No, that's not turned on.
It's not turned on. So if you just try to go live stream, because they say to themselves, most people don't even want to use it.
It's in the settings, and then you just search live stream
right?
YouTube.
We'll talk about right. So a lot of times, one of the first things you need to do for all groups is to what? Go to the settings and turn on a number of features that most people don't even use. I want to go to those types of features that people are not aware of, but that are it's awesome in that case. So if I think about it, it'll be, in this case, important to have. And then I'm going to use another screening program to record, and that's called Loom, Loom. I'm using that. I'm using the educational version that allows me unlimited time, because that's another thing. If what Zoom does, the free version restricts if you're using many people to do it. So I'm going to start recording. So I had a lot of questions about the 3-2-1. I had a lot of questions about the homework assignments. So I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we'll get up to a part that everyone will fully understand and hopefully get the maximum amount of credit, and we'll learn the most for our assignment. So let's get started. Okay, anything I need to do if you have any specific questions, Sophia and Dylan are online with me today, and we'll check this out. Okay, so what do I need to do? Now I'm in version where I see everybody. Everybody looks good. It's already set. Brooke, where are you? You look so far away. So in this case, and Costa, you remember that look? I love the hoodie look, but we want to see the chin as well, right? And you don't have to go like this the whole time. In the class, you can move the camera a bit, right? And everybody else looks like, and Helena also, your name is kind of, if you can move your camera a bit so we can see everyone's lovely face. And it's Augustina too, if we can move it a little bit down, that we can be at the point. Okay, we can help each other. So what do I want to do? I want to share my screen, and you can then see my screen. Everybody still has their camera on, and when you share your screen, I have, in this case, you can see what? What are you seeing in this case, Gus? You see something on my screen?
Yeah, the YouTube live stream.
YouTube live stream. And Sophia, you see how you're right next to me, Sophia? You're looking great with such confidence. And what's the problem? It's a little bit, I'm using my hands, right? and I say, let's go and let's have a positive attitude. And notice it's basically, see how Gus comes up right away. Gus, you see how you're in green now? And now I'm speaking, it kind of like highlights who it is. So my question becomes then, why use YouTube? We're already using we're already using Zoom recording. Why even bother with this? Thinking about it in a business idea, why even bother with that? What do you think, Daniel?
So you could share it to other people
Other people that are what? That are
outside of the organization, yeah.
outside of the, even more than outside of the organization, because who can even get into my Zoom right now is whom?
Anyone
Not even-
really. But anyone who has the link or anyone who searches it up.
Yeah, anyone that I share the link with, or basically anyone that's been registered in my class. So it could be, I could then set this up where this could be a recording. We could do a channel of certain topics that you were interested in, and then we could make a playlist. We could create podcasts. That would be interesting, Daniel,
Yeah.
from this of making a project here where everyone would then be able to have, maybe as a group, have their group channel,
We
and
could do
then
that.
have playlists, and then have podcasts. And
Mhm.
see, and now YouTube wants to compete with everybody, right?
Yeah.
They definitely feeling they're behind TikTok in a lot of ways, so they're doing the short clips, right? They feel like they're doing behind in podcasting, right? Everybody wants to get what? Number of subscribers. So we got this on YouTube, and your assignment is trying to mimic what I have on your own. So you, Sophia, as a group, as part of your project, could even have a YouTube channel, create them playlists, and then later on you could see, hey, you could create, Sophia, your own brand, the brand individually of yourself, or those in marketing or finance, we can do that. Okay, so we got that part. That's good. I have my regular part now. Alejandro knows that he needs to go to his regular course. He has to go to his Zoom meetings. And if I go to Zoom meetings, this is my regular course where the role is important. The role is that you are student role. I am instructor role. You have different needs to know. And you can see here all the classes that are done. And you can see on my end, I have cloud recordings. I've always noticed it says cloud recording. Why? I do not, when I do to my computer, I don't need to do any uploading. And you can see here, we have already 3 classes done. So if you miss the class, or some people have emergencies, or you want to review it, you have that done. That's number 1. The other part that we'll do attendance. At the end, we have what's due. And let me turn this off so people see this. So if I'm on the what's off, we know that on Wednesday, this Wednesday, we have the Wiley Plus assignment. We have quiz 1 from TG1, and we know that we have the Zoom collaboration exercise under the quizzes and exercise folder. We have the what's due, the Wiley Plus. Just so you know, the Wiley Plus, you can see here, you have the introduction hardware. If I go to the introduction, I have that. If I go to hardware, it's due on Wednesday, but if I go to hardware, we talked about it before, I can go to the adaptive assignment, and I have the role of instructor. So of course, when I have the role of the instructor, when I open the assignment, this is due on Wednesday. I know for this assignment, no one is underdue, but we know that 11 people have already completed and 29 have not started. So we know that these people need to start for that part. And under students, I have basically the class roster, so I can see then already that Daniel and Ashton and Brooke, Kylie, Andrea, Ike, Lish, and Jessica, and Ben have committed. Okay, so we got that part. We know what that is going. So I have that as the assignments. So that is, once we have that as a part of it, and then I know under PowerPoints and documents, I know that if I go to the 9th edition, that I have TG1, I can download that of TG1, so that's available to me. And under assignments and quizzes, I know I have TG1, the hardware quiz to do. It is self-checking. You get 2 chances to do it. All open book, all non-timed. And when I go to the exercises, here are the exercises. That exercises is creating a Zoom meeting, streaming live to YouTube, figuring it out. So this is what you need to do by yourself too, Sophia, is create a Zoom meeting by yourself, try to stream live to YouTube, but you have your group to help you. So it's not, Sophia, when somebody in your group figures it out or is struggling, you have the group to help each other. This thing is, I want each person to do part of the exercise on their own, but I also want the group to work together, invite other team members, promote co-hosts, turn on live transcription, record meeting in the cloud. And here I say on premises, it means on the computer without password protection. So if password protection in your settings is turned on, you want to turn it off. And in this case, why would I want to turn it off, Gus? Is I don't want to bother typing in every time I see it a password, right? Is it so confidential? We're not doing any, you're not giving me your credit card. We're not doing any financial data that sometimes we want it password protected. We don't want other people. We're talking about our patentable ideas, sharing the screen, remote support, allowing meeting hosts from one-to-one support. These types of things I want you to show, and I want you to share your screen that you can do it. Create and display polls, create and monitor breakout rooms, and we'll discuss that. And discuss the key points learned, the challenges and the solutions you've experienced on your own and as a group. So let's go to the audit area, and everybody can go. I call it the audit area. Why do I call it the audit area, Sophia? I call it because we can audit each other. If people in your group are having problems, Sophia, can you see what they've uploaded? Sure. Do I want you to see what they uploaded? Yes. Can you see what other groups have uploaded? Yes. That's the beauty here, is that you can learn from the others, but people are coming with different abilities that you can. So the first thing that I'm going to be looking at is when I take data, I want to automate a lot of our procedures. If I want to automate, Daniel, a number of our procedures, the computer, when I try to automate, even though we call it artificial intelligence, many times it's really not that intelligent yet. But the way we can do it, Daniel, is that we need to be in this, it helps when everything is in the same order.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want for all groups is right now what group 1, which is Liat, Alex, the 2 Alex, and Nathan have done, is they've set up their description of their group in the proper order for me later on to automate a lot of this process. So in this case, if I look at, is Leisha here from group 2?
Yeah.
So Leisha, is your group 2 in the same order as group 1?
No.
No. So what I'd like you to do is every group, you can do this now, is put it in this order. This should be our standard. You see how this is in Dylan and in group 1? This I want in everybody's standard is your names. Every row is what we call in database terms a record. So if I have 4 people in the group, I have 4 records. So in this case, so later on, Daniel, if we bring it into Excel, right, we'll have each as a different
text to
row.
columns, right?
Right, we'll have columns. We'll be able to basically sort in certain ways, and we'll be able to do this well. We'll be able to parse strings if we want, each of these. So go ahead, each group, make sure that you have this as the same order. That should be a given. So if I see group 2 needs to be, and I don't need to tell you this, you guys can read just as well as I can, right? Group 4, we may want to have separate lines. It may be a little bit easier to clear. Group 4 and you see my Whitney, Ben, Bodie, and Fabio, you may want to go in and just put a separate line there in between each. And this is good, group 5, right? What about my group 5? Mia, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good.
I'm not sure what's wrong with it.
Okay, look at group 1 and look at group 5.
Oh, we have the different like.
When I hear Mia, I know we found something. Oh, it's good in the class. Okay, so fix it. So what is it? Each of these then are going to be data items, right? Each is a record, and each of those items then are going to be part of my columns, right, Daniel? So they have to be in the right order.
Yes.
You think, Mia, you think to yourself, what the big deal? Dr. Rush can figure out what's a phone number and what's an email, right? But guess what? When you set it up with the computer, when we're going to want to automate something, the computer is, guess what, dumb. And all it's going to say is this is called a field. Name right here is called a field 1. The second one is going to be email is field 2. And the third one is called it. So let me even put it in here in my notes here, right? Let me do a new file, new. Save it. And then if I think about it, we have something called a record, which is like a row. And we think about it as a field in database, which is an item. So I want each, and this is how you would communicate what we call basically a way to prompt the computer even in generative AI is we want each group to have what? Row, every record is a student. And the order of the fields is what, Mia? First name.
First name, last
name. What else?
Email, and phone number.
And phone. That's all. And the reason why, Mia, is you say, who cares? You're a human, you can figure it out right away in a second. And guess what? The computer can't. Later on, maybe you can tell it, if it has an @ sign, have you ever filled out a form and says, that's not a valid email or something like that, it'll look at it, but it's just looking for the email field. So do that now. I know, and then we'll refresh and we'll see that is done for everyone.
There's a question in the chat.
Pardon, Sophia, what?
Someone put a question in the chat.
Okay, and what is it? What is it relevant for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me.
They asked on YouTube, it says you can only live stream if you have 50 subscribers.
It shouldn't be the case. You should be able to do it without any subscribers.
Dylan, I looked it up. I think it might be an issue if you already have a YouTube account and you've used it for a while.
Okay,
So
so
maybe you
there's
need
so
to
many
make it-
little differences, right?
Yeah,
So
Google's
see what-
finicky.
Yeah, it's always finicky. So document where you find it of the 50 subscribers, and later on, how many students do we have? We have 40, and if you get 10 of your friends, we can all subscribe to each other. We got already 40, right? And then we can get you, and maybe you have 10 friends, or maybe everybody can, maybe your 5 friends that you have can bring their other 5 friends if you're not that popular. A lot of times my friends. So these are issues great to see. So try it out and see who among your group can even get in terms of a Google account, a YouTube account. And what do I want, Sophia? Is to document those issues. Great question. Who was the question? Who gave that question?
It was
Brooke.
Brooke. Thank you, Brooke. Okay, so we got everyone here that this should be done for each one. So I expect everyone then to have it in that order, right, that we said, for we know the difference. Now, a record is a row, so if we brought it into Excel, we would have each student as a record, and then each field is an item, and in this case, we would have it. Perfect. Now, next, I'm going to, Daniel, I'm going to use your group for an example, okay? So work with me,
Sure.
Daniel, okay? So we got Daniel's group here that needed to be filled out completely. And at this time, everybody should have this as a template. This is a folder. So notice when you're setting this up under build content, just like any other type of operating system, you should have something called a content folder, and then you have something called an item. A lot of times I'll have you upload something as an item so you can create more descriptions. So put that in mind, that you can have a content folder. Items, a lot of times I like to use so you can have it. And you always want to put as much information as you have. So the first thing we ask is everybody that attended the Zoom session. This means that everybody that was in the group recorded session. And these he put in key points learned. I would, for Daniel's part, I would add in his group, be more specific on the key points learned.
Yeah, we
rather
haven't
than,
finished that part.
Yeah, I know, but we're no need to be telling me that. I'm just giving it to everyone, that you can see here key points learned, because I want, Daniel, why I'm saying that is because when people are looking at it, they said, hey, Daniel's group was the best. She highlighted them, and we can say that, learned about all the different parts of Zoom software. Actually here, put the notes of what were the key points, not only learned, but I would even say demonstrated.
Okay.
And then challenges, what challenges did you have, and what were the challenges? And maybe in this case, we found that to create a poll, we could not all be the hosts, right? Because what do you need, Sophia? Somebody to create it and somebody to take it, right? If everybody is creators, then we have no one. And this may be an offshoot of it that later on we can see. And we found that the poll didn't show up in the recording, or the change in host did not either. So we have already some problems when you're sharing the screen. Not everything in Zoom gets shared. For instance, sometimes my bar doesn't get shared. So later on in our next assignment is we'll do a next assignment to find other recording softwares that will get all those points that didn't show up in the recording. Because that's important, because we can think about these recordings not only to show our problems, but to be instructional for someone else. So Lisha, if you say, I just want a quick 3-minute video on how to create polls, and you figure it out, you can create that and then share it with everyone, right? Or share it with your group. So that's what we want. And solutions, which are great. We're going to have challenges, that's for sure. And Mia, what's the great part of the class is to find solutions. And maybe you don't find the solution right away, but there's someone in your group that finds it, Or you can reach out to what? Do you have access to the other groups in the audit
Yeah.
area? Yeah, you have it via their email. Do you have a way in which you can email them? You can text them?
Yeah.
That's the beauty, that we're going to be looking at it as a collaborative, a different way of basically being in this class, is that we're all learning from each other. You guys know things that I don't know. I'm not claiming that I know everything. It's just you have experiences that I don't. So we'll be able to solution, and then the Zoom recordings and yours in the future. And basically we'll try to do the YouTube live stream to YouTube. If you have issues with it, then you'll document what were the issues. Just like Brooke said, in my version, they said I needed 50 subscribers. One is, how am I going to get it? Maybe you can say then, Brooke, you get, we have 40 people here, including TAs and the instructor, that I can subscribe. If you want, you can send. Do you have a way to email everyone? Brooke, are you there?
Yes, I do.
Do you think you could email everyone in the
Yeah,
class?
I can. Yeah, I can
No,
try.
but I'm just saying, see, when we do send email, right, you can say all users, right? And you can have everybody, you can give it and everybody in the class, or individual people. So you can do that even for sure. And let's go back to groups so we can have that. So thank you, Brooke, for making those comments. And then we have this. Now when I go to the Zoom collaborate, so everybody clear on this? Mia, you were having questions. Then is this clear what I want you to fill out in this part, in the first part?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. The second part, when we do the Zoom collaboration assignment, what I'd like you to do is mainly as an individual, put, for instance, Daniel Flores, individual. And then Daniel, what I would do is here, I'm going to go edit, because can I edit Daniel?
Yeah, sure.
Mia, can I edit Daniel's work?
I don't know.
Well, let's
probably.
think about it. What role is Daniel in this section?
He's an auditor also.
Yeah, but he's what? What role does he have? And if you want to know what role, what? Let's look.
Assistant
Teaching assistant. How would you know? Do you see under here, Mia, on the left-hand side? Do you have the left? Are you in the audit? Click down on users. Go to users. And in this case, you can see then, if I look under, at this point, Flores, what does it say he is?
Teaching assistant.
Teaching assistant. And in my case, I'm instructor. We all can edit each other's work in this section. I can, everyone else in the other section, when you do Wiley Plus, and when you do the quizzes, no one else can edit your work. Because what are you in the other section? What role, Mia?
A student.
Student, and you have restricted roles. Here you have wide roles. So that's an advantage, of course. That's also what? A disadvantage, because you want to make sure that everything that you do, Daniel, is what? Backed up, because could somebody by mistake delete your work?
Yes.
Yes. Do you see that, Mia? Somebody could delete your work, and you don't want that. So you always want to have backup. Hopefully everybody, even unintentionally, intentionally, I've never had it happen before, because I just have we have such a good atmosphere, a collaborative atmosphere. But you need to know, what is the problem of giving everybody teaching assistant roles, right? It's like everybody in the organization, they can steal my bank account, right? So anyways, so I have, even if they're a hacker, they don't even have to be a hacker. So if at this case, I go to group 8, I go to Zoom collaboration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click down here, Brooke, and say edit. You see that, Brooke? And now in the individual, you can see that he has put in the links here on his content. But what I would also like him to do, either before or after, is put in a description of what this entails. Wouldn't that be good, Sophia? So if you look at Daniel's work, you want to see what he's discussing in there. If you want to say, hey, if he's not discussing, he basically can discuss, what did I discuss in my Miami Zoom, and what did I discuss, what's there in that YouTube channel? And then once he discusses that, notice permit users to view this contents. But why can we, and if he said no, could we view it? Daniel, if you clicked no, could our
No,
class,
yes, you guys could.
because what? We have
Because we're
the
all teaching
higher
assistants.
role.
Yeah.
But it's good to say that if we enrolled students in this audit section, or we demoted certain people, Daniel,
Yeah, then they wouldn't be able to see it.
right, we'll be able, and notice here, track the number of views. If you wanted to see how many people viewed, in this case, be interesting. I'm going to put it on just so I'll say here. I can change it, Daniel, but I'm putting it on. So just so you could get statistics, you may be interested. How many people viewed it?
Yeah.
You know, was I a good, we're using you, Daniel, since you have a lot of computer experience. You're like the teaching assistant of the assistant, right? How
Yeah.
we have it of the class. You're the go-to tech guy of the class. Then it'd be interesting to say how many people, you know, usually you kind of say, let's see what Daniel's doing. You know, that's where I would start. If Daniel isn't getting it, then I know that I have to go back and reevaluate, right? So, and then I could submit and we could have that. So we have this one. The second one is, I don't know what the difference between submission part 1 and submission part 2.
Oh, part 2 is the actual file for recording 2, and then part 1 is the cloud recording link.
Okay, so we need to state that.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you. And in this case, you can see that since Daniel, Sophia is the first one in his group, since he's the most experienced in terms of tech, he's kind of like taking that leadership role. We would have the same thing. That's why I would want it. We would have each person of the individual have those. And then the group here, I would then also in the group, one thing we noticed was that Zoom did not show the things on the app itself, such as co-host promotions or polls. Maybe it would be better record with other, and that's what we're going to be doing, recording with other software. That's exactly what we'll be doing for our next exercise, is trying to use other software, because it really blends in. We can see what are the limitations, because in the beginning when you record, you don't know as the host what is actually getting recorded. And then I would also put in, maybe in this case, put in a little summary of what you guys are, what did you guys show in that group submission, and the same thing here. And make that. Okay. Does that help, Sophia?
Yeah, it does.
So this is where you need to do, is take this, and Daniel will beef it up, you know, hopefully soon. So this way you can kind of see a full picture, but try to document, because guess what? After you finish it, even when it's your own work, Daniel, even if I ask you next week, what was on that file? Why do you even have to remember?
Yeah, you can
It's
just
all-
reference it.
For reference purposes, or I have to show you something and I'm not sure. Now, when you go to, and this was something that a number of people were asking me, is when I go to zoommiami.edu, I get
Yeah, it redirects.
this, pardon?
It redirects.
It redirects, and then it says, what do I have in upcoming, right? What do I have in the surveys? Notice they even have something. Do you see this, Daniel? of clips. They're
Yeah.
trying to do like short little clips. The only problem with that, you can try it out sometimes even to do short clips, but notice here, our current license, they only give us 5 clips and they say record up to 2 minutes, you know, and then they want basically to make it a default if there's kind of demand from the bottom up to get the administration to pay more money and to get more clips in there. Maybe later on they'll incorporate it. If you want to play around with it, you're welcome to do it. To do kind of Zoom wants to kind of compete with the other recording software that you don't have to go. It'd be interesting when you record that clip. You may want to try it out, Daniel, when you use the Zoom clip.
I'll give
Will
it a
it
shot.
get like doing the polls and things like you didn't see before?
Yeah.
You know, that'd be interesting to see in the surveys. But if I go to my settings, this is where you're going to have to go to. Mia, you're going to have to go to my settings, and what I do as a group when you would be meeting as a group is start going through my settings just to be knowing what's in all those. Notice here, require all meetings are secure with one security option. Notice what I do, all that security business, I'm leaving out. For my classes, what I find is it's more of a burden than anything else. What I teach in my class, I don't tell secret stories. You know, I don't share my bank accounts. Even when the students are at the end of the class for my office hours, and I urge you, when you're coming to my office hours and you are going to be telling me something personal, make sure I try to do that I'm not recording. I always kind of say, Sophia, I'm shutting off the recording, but make sure that whenever you're speaking to me, you do double check and saying, you know, you'll see recording, that's a part. So I don't do it. Waiting rooms require a passcode when scheduling new meetings. I shut that off. Require a passcode for instant meetings. I shut that off. Notice anything with passcodes, I'm shutting down. You know, and here I'm allowing people to be authenticated, scheduling the meetings. You want to look at all of that you can. Notice when I go to YouTube and we have a little watermark of the U. So wants to, since I'm using their software, want to watermark it. I like to mute all participants when they join the meeting, just so, you know, by accident, we're not hearing things that we shouldn't hear. And meeting chats, you want to look through the chat experiences of co-hosts, allow the host to add co-hosts. Co-hosts have the same in-meeting controls, so that's what we want to know. Notice here, meeting polls and quizzes. Here, require answers to be anonymous. I don't allow it, but see here, make sure your meeting and closes is allowed. Meeting surveys, screen sharing. Notice who can share. I make everybody be able to share. Make sure you're doing that. And you can see through, you can go through the annotations, the whiteboard, the remote control. A lot of it you're not even aware of. And in advanced, do you see this? At this type, Brooke, do you see this in meeting advanced? I don't like to report to Zoom. If you want to report to Zoom, that's your business. But for me, I don't report. Allow participation to ask questions for the host to answer. Breakout rooms. Remember, we're using breakout rooms, manual calculations, full transcript we want to do. We want to save the captions. If we have additional cameras, we can have control of those, high quality. Virtual backgrounds. If you want to use virtual backgrounds, you can do virtual backgrounds. Some of you that want immersive mode, identify guests and participants. And this is the key right here. You see that's Mia? Allow live streaming of meetings. We can use this in our professional version. In the free version, you don't have this. So even if you wanted to, I clicked on everything. I've never used Workspace for Meta, so I just didn't bother. But even if those with gaming and so forth, you could do Twitch, you can do custom, you can use YouTube, you can do Facebook. I'm just using right now YouTube, but you can have them checked off as availability. So in this case, so the difficulties sometimes come with, sometimes YouTube asks you to stay for 24 hours, sometimes they don't. And then you can see notify when the meeting is canceled. This is good. When a meeting is canceled, notify hosts and participants. And just go through all of it. So you may even want to do it two ways, Sophia. You may want to get in a group together, figure it out together, then do individual, and then come back and record your time together and even discuss where you were having issues within the recording, you know, with the group. I give you some flexibility there that we don't have to micromanage. So if I go back to groups, right? You see that, Leisha? No big shakes, that's already done. Right, Leisha? So we got it each group done in that same order. Perfect. And group 7, let's do it the same way. Let's put in even an extra line of Dylan, Sai, Connor, and Malek. Let's, is it Malek or Malik?
It's Malik.
Malik, okay. So let's just put in a return. Questions before I continue? How's it sound? Sophia, what questions do you have now?
I don't have any questions. That was clear.
Good, good. Is that clear for everybody? Great. So we got that part done. And let me just share the screen on the other part. So if I go to that part and I go to my other section, as soon as I go to my other section, in this case, Brooke, what role do you have in the other section? I call it the regular section.
What do you mean by what role do I have?
What role do you have when you're registered? If I go to users in this section, what role will you have?
I think maybe teaching assistant or maybe just a user.
Okay. So Mia, what do you think? In the regular section, you can cheat. You don't have to cheat. You can look. Brooke, look under users and you tell me. So Liat, what do you think? In the regular class, not the audit section, what role do you have?
Role of a student.
Role of the student, what does that mean versus the audit group?
You don't have as much control over.
You don't, basically, can you edit someone else's work in the audit section?
Yes.
Yes. Can you do it in this section?
No.
Can you upload anything in the, can you change? I have Zoom group exercise and I said, you know, I see a spelling mistake here. Can you edit it
Yes.
in my regular section?
Oh wait, no, you can't.
You got it, right? So if I go to users, right, Brooke? What do I see? And Brooke, your last name is what?
Morel.
Morel. So if I go down and see you, what do you have? What is your user?
Student.
Student. And beautiful. We're on a roll then. So if I go back, Ike, and our database terms, let's review. I have a record and a field, and each of these are fields. So in this case, if I asked you, Brooke Morel, where I've checked off, what is that entire line called? In database terms, it's called a record, right? And then if I look above, what are the names of the fields? Username, first name, last name, email, and role. Why did they do in that order? Because I could easily bring it into something like Excel and manipulate it, right? And we can take all, sort it by students, sort it by this. We can do this in the same ways with phone numbers with this. Here I have the user name, and if I look at that username, what is that username represent? Justin, what does this username represent?
Each student.
And what's the difference in this case? If I think about database terms, I have something that's called a primary key that's unique. So what is the primary key here? Username, first name, last name. Username is a primary key, right? Because it's unique. Also, email would be unique.
Are those our C numbers?
Those are C numbers, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
And they're given to what? Then they're given to the university. Why not use social security number? Who asked
Well,
that?
I
Daniel?
was asking if those were our like UMC numbers.
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
so. Yeah, there looks like UMC numbers that they give me, where they call it the username. And why do they give it? They give it. Why don't they just use social security?
That'd be a bad idea.
Well, why don't they?
We wouldn't want anyone having your social security number.
Okay, and what
Yeah.
else? What's another reason?
Well, the cane number is university specific, so I mean anyone could look you up based on that.
Right. And does everybody have a social
Absolutely,
security?
yeah. Oh,
But-
a cane number or social?
Social.
No, not everyone.
No. So that was another reason. One is because we don't want to put that out because it can be used, right, for more, user identity, grabbing your identity. But two, not everybody has a social, right?
Yeah.
All the foreign students don't have socials, right? And a number of other. So they created at this point. And also if they grab it, it's not, if somebody grabs that, notice they get, when they grab that, right? Can you see users on your end?
Not in the same spot, but if I go to send email, I could scroll through.
Okay, but can you go to, do you have access? This is interesting. Let me stop sharing. Share your screen, Daniel.
Sure.
Share your screen of the regular section. And let's see, and go to our course, our regular course
Yeah,
now.
No,
Do you have, or you don't
that's
have
only
access?
for you. If we
It's
go
only
to
for
send
me.
email and then select user, we have this.
Okay, but it's not by, it's just by name and email, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you can see that that's another issue that you have then, because do you really, in a regular class, do you really need to know all the other users in terms of even their C number and their roles? I have a use for that, and teaching assistants have a use for that.
Yeah.
But you can send even emails, you can send everybody an email even in your regular section, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, we have that done for each of them. Anything else in the chat I need to know, Sophia?
There's one thing in the chat.
Yeah, what is it?
But the answer is one Zoom link.
Pardon?
The question was for your group, you just submitted one link. Oh, this was directly to me. Never mind.
Okay, all right. But what
I'll
is it?
answer.
Is it important for other people to know about?
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
so
just
why don't you announce
basically
it?
asking that we all didn't individually have to submit a Zoom link
Yeah, you
in
all
the
do
group.
have to, you all do, even though yours is, you say yours is individual, everyone else in your group should do it. an
But for the
individual-
group recording part, that's just
Yeah,
one
no,
recording.
yeah, the group recording, there's no reason to do it 4 times, right?
Yeah,
But
that was the
that's
question.
yeah, only for the group recording, there's only one, but everybody should be participating in the group recording. And also the group recording should be not to be embarrassed that you're asking questions. You know, you're resolving issues like, I'm not really sure how to do this, and someone else shows you what to be doing in the group recording. But you think about the group reporting that you're teaching someone else, plus where you have issues that you were not able to resolve, that you put that in the challenges, and then these are solutions, as we're still having an issue on how to resolve that. And then you may want to reach out to other groups and say, how did you resolve it? That's the beauty. So there's no problem in reaching out, you know, there's no problem that we'll discuss that you can't reach out to any of the generative AI and ask for the prompts. Okay, so we'll end a few minutes early. I'm going to take attendance and I'll stay afterwards to deal with any issues, and I'll have Dylan, if you don't mind staying after with me, and even Daniel will see where are kind of like the
Okay.
next issues that we need to deal with. And Sophia, thank you so much for generating that discussion. You see, it's the same issues for everyone. So that's where we'll get participation, is not just because I got the correct answers, but I need to resolve some of the things that were not clear. Anything else that I need to deal with? So on Wednesday, we know what we have due, and then we'll go over the readings, anything that we need to do about the readings, and we'll discuss kind of the next assignment as well. Okay, so let me share. There are no other questions. Any questions in the chat that I need to deal with? Other than that, I'll take attendance. I'm in my regular section, right? Where I have my regular section for my attendance. That's another program, right? The Quickly. I'm waiting for there. I'm going to check in. What happened here? I check in. Start check-in. Starting with check-in. And it loads a number 1324. So Mia, thank you very much for participating. And we got it. Okay.
Thank you.
And stay with me if you have questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you, Gus.
Have a good one.
And Alejandro, are you in a group?
No, that's why I stayed after. I don't think I'm in a
Yeah, so Dylan, can you do me a favor?
I
And
can look for a group for him.
yeah, look for a group that I would put you in, Dylan, but Daniel, you have quite a few people. I'd rather put him in a group that maybe in this case,
Group 2 has 3, everyone else has 4, so.
okay, so good. So put him in group 2. Alejandro, you'll have everybody's email and phone in group 2. You see that, Alejandro?
I know Savan. I can text him.
Okay, perfect. So text him and tell him
Yeah.
you're in his group and you want to be in their next Zoom meeting.
Alejandro, do you want to put your phone number in the chat?
No.
You know, Alejandro, it was good in the way that you almost made it as when we talk about the roles. You know what I mean? Your mistake ended up to, we could basically use it as a case study. So you know what I mean?
Did you get it, Dylan?
Wait, hold on a sec. I'm sending it to Saban right now.
Does Zoom have an attendance plugin?
No, they use Quickly.
Oh, I see.
All right, I texted
They
him.
may have, you know, there's a new version of Blackboard. Oh, Zoom, you mean?
Yeah, Zoom.
They
Imagine
may,
how
I
easy it
don't
would be if
know.
everyone could just click like OK or something.
You mean in Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I good to go?
Yeah,
So-
are you
yeah.
good? Wait a minute. And so Alejandro, you reach out also to Sivan, you know him.
Okay, yeah, I will.
Yeah, send him a text too.
Send him a text and ask him when is their next meeting, and then also even beforehand that he covers what needs to be done, you know?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because good thing everything's due on Wednesday.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
For reaching out. Okay, so let me just shut down all my recordings. Let me stop sharing.